Like many of Kronika's minions, Rain was promised an Edenia where he would rule as its eternal protector. This promise proved to be less than nothing upon facing his counterpart who wanted the hourglass. He now lies lifeless in the sea of blood, an endless void with no return. But he was soon brought back by the hands of fate. Fate had taken Rain to an unknown plane of reality where each timeline connected, each world completely different to the last, lost and without a purpose. Rain will now venture into each of these new timelines to find himself or to find eternal despair. This is his story. Rain began his journey in a timeline where Jade ruled as Keeper of Time. But the Rain in her timeline had long been executed for treason and confusion upon this outworld spite. If not for Jade's intervention, Rain would have been dead. But if he wants to continue on his journey, he would have to test his might in Mortal Kombat. Through each match, Rain regained his skill and confidence, and after defeating Satoshi Hazashi's Scorpion, he was now ready to venture into other timelines. Jade, however, had one warning to give to Rain. This journey will be a dangerous one, but before he gets home, he must first find himself. Rain was both shocked and surprised to what he had found in the next timeline. One where Sindel was a Vaternian queen and Natara was her eternal champion. These Vaternians were cruel, vile, and cunning more than any Vaternians I have seen in this multiverse. Rain knew he couldn't face this threat alone. It was only when teamed up with Takeda Takahashi and Natara's betrayal over Sindel did he manage to gain the upper hand. The Vaternians were doomed to starve, but Rain used his magic to ensure an eternal supply of blood without the need of war. Peace was all but secured. Rain had gained respect from this timeline's residents, but his journey was far but over. It is a multiversal constant that Shang Tsung is a threat to the realms. A Shang Tsung who is a Lin Kuei, however, is a new dangerous being entirely. He had unleashed a deadly virus into the air, and it latched itself onto the snow, causing this timeline to be frozen and corrupted. Only Frost remained level-headed, and assumed her position as Keeper of Time, thus began her cruel, frozen reign. Rain arrived with little time to save everyone. Only with the powers of the hourglass can the residents of this timeline be cured internally. Frost was unwilling to change her mind, or allow her rule to end. The death count, however, was too great, forcing Rain and this timeline's Kuai Liang to finish her. Now with all this timeline cured, and Kuai Liang taking position as Keeper of Time with the powers of fire and ice, Rain took a step back and watched the sunset. The hellish winter of this timeline was over, and thus came the dawn of a new, bright spring. Great genius and wanton cruelty are two things one hopes not to find in the same being. Unfortunately, every member of the Council of Melinas had both these traits. In this timeline, after killing their creator Shang Tsung, the Melinas had unleashed a mass amount of clones from their late creator's flesh pits. They began to develop minds of their own and separated into two warring factions, the Ultras and the Hybrids. When Rain arrived, He had joined the battle against the Ultras with the help of the Hybrid and Earthrealm Special Forces, with a hybrid Shao leading the charge. The war was long and the casualties high, but upon seeing all but 2 of the Council of Melinas executed, it was this timeline Sindel who was pulling all the strings, including giving the order to Shang Tsung to creating the Council of Melinas. But with one swing of his battle axe, Shao beheaded Sindel and brings peace to the realms for Earthrealm and both of the clone forces. After a nice time to rest, as well as recuperating from the long journey, Rain wished Shao Kahn all the best and continued on to find his way home. What came next was a surprise even to my own understanding, as 2 timelines were under the threat of an incursion thanks to the army of the Dark Lord Raiden, who plans to use the power of the Jinsei of every timeline to defend this and every Earthrealm. Together with another Raiden and his Kung Lao, Rain fought against the Dark Lord valiantly. But upon the Dark Lord taking the life of his own counterpart, it was up to the newly appointed fire god Kung Lao to finish the fight. Despite the pain he caused, Kung Lao could never take the life of his friend or his friend's variants. But then suddenly, his soul was taken by another, the Lin Kuei Shang Tsung, who was believed to be dead, and the Quan Chi from Jade's timeline, 2 harbingers of evil, who announced the birth of the Omni-Titan. Right under our noses, this variant of Shang Tsung and this variant of Quan Chi had arrived in a timeline where Kotal Khan ruled as Time's Keeper, but the Deadly Alliance took his life, along with the Hourglass, gathered souls throughout the multiverse to creating a powerful Ermac and became Omni-Titans. Seeing that all these worlds are in danger, Rain knew that he had to fight back, and together with a variant of Chameleon and Geras of Kotal's timeline, they had brought Rain's allies from across timelines to form an army against the armies of the Omni-Deadly Alliance. But during the war, the true mastermind of the Omni-Deadly Alliance was revealed. It was Rain's Keeper of Time variant. After he had gotten revenge on all those in his world, he met with Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, and together they would bring conquest and wrath upon the realms. Rain fought his dark reflection, while his allies struggled against Ermac. But sparing his counterpart's life allowed Rain to show him a path outside of vengeance, before it destroys everything, including himself. This dark Rain had begun to turn a new leaf, until Shang Tsung and Quan Chi took his life and fed his soul to their Ermac. This would prove to be a grave error, as Rain's soul erupted in Ermac's collection, leaving one soul remaining in his vassal, before Ermac himself fell into the great void never to be seen again. And this left Rain and Chameleon to finish off the Deadly Alliance Omni-Titans. After his journey through timelines, Rain had a choice to go home as he wanted, but Pain was left conflicted. The suffering, sorrow, joy, love and loss he had witnessed showed him that each timeline would need a protector, but he could not do this as a mere god or mortal. And so, with Geras and Kotal's help, he absorbed Shang Tsung's hourglass into his being, transforming himself from a protector into an immortal who helps defend those who suffer from the fate of an incursion. Once a protector of Edenia, now reborn as someone who uses time's power to bring about peace and order for the realms. Thus arises Rain, the eternal protector of time.
We are ready. We clear. Clear. Christine.